also see a disc or a boat. All that stuff is talking about the pineal gland. You got the gates of Zion. The gates of Zion is the pineal gland and two different pituitary glands. That's your pearly gates. That's why in the movie they said that without matrix we're lost. He's the one that's got the mainframe of Zion in his brain. That's the pineal and the two pituitary glands, which also represents the three crosses on Calvary, the three stars in Orion's belt, the three pyramids, and these are the three wise men. All of that is talking about the same three glands in your head. Jubilee, Jubilee, all that shit. See what I'm saying? The Trinity, all of that is the pineal gland in your head. The key is the extraterrestrial nation is inside of you. That's called a Goatia. Now remember, I talked about this last time, about these Damians or these demons of Goatia. And I talked about these many seals. These seals is on the inside. These seals. Each one of these seals represent a legion of 10,000. And those 10,000 are the extraterrestrial nation. But the extraterrestrial nation, these seals all come through a substance called silicosh. And silicosh is the third eye. So these particular seals of Goatia is acting inside of your third eye. And you got the stars out there, these extraterrestrial stars are seals and ships. It's nothing but the inner workings of your own spiritual universe.
What's the name of that book?
This is the Goatia. This is a hardback copy out of style, out of print. But this book is in print for $16. The Goatia by Goetia by Alistair Crawley and McGregor Mathis. So Crawley's book on the Goatia. Now, the Goatia, this text, this was one of the texts that was left up into Spain by Moors. So it was later on transferred to the British Museum. So the Moors got this out of Africa, probably Ethiopia. And this is one of the ancient texts that's left up in the Greater Key of Solomon and the Lesser Key of Solomon. The Greater Key of Solomon is astronomical or astrological. The Lesser Key of Solomon is talking about inner demons. The Lesser Key is higher than the Greater Key. The Greater Key is only a reflection. The Lesser Key is the inner key. So the Goatia is the demons, is the Lesser Key. So each one of these Damianic spirits, the word Damon, Amian, Amen, hidden brain, hidden substance. The chief of the Damians is Lucifer, light bringer, coming in, which is the Christ. But the Christ has legions, armies. The rider of the white horse, he had armies with him. So these particular things that are extraterrestrials, this is what they're talking about. Ain't no fucking aliens out there coming and saving you. The bullshit. I'm liable to kick it in the ass because I'll never save you. After we done cut all this hell, you can go back to hell back where you came from. See, I don't want nobody to show me nothing. What is it? Give me nothing. Open up the door, I'll give it myself. Now, these inner realms is the only extraterrestrial space there is. Now, the Goatia of the Galactic Federation does not exist in outside space, which is called the petty universe or the holographic universe. Get Michael Talbot's book, The Holographic Universe. You can get it in the physics section. Holographic Universe, Michael Talbot's book. I'll get the book, June Singer's book. June Singer, Seeing Through the Physical World. June Singer's book, Seeing Through the Physical World. The Galactic or Intergalactic Federation does not exist in outer space, which is called the petty universe or the illusionary universe, but in the inner space of the human body. Of what is called which is left of the original God. The movie Matrix, only a few of us in that room anyway. Remember, there was only a few of them on the other side anyway. You see what I'm saying? So that just represents you. Remember, how many people saw the movie? You remember when they had the guns? He said we need lots and lots of guns. How did those guns come out looking? They came out looking like bookcases and library cases. The guns was talking about shooting from the lip and not the hip. Knowledge. See what I'm saying? Knowledge. But even when he had to go and kill the Citium program, which was the agent, how did he kill him? He had to go into the agent to kill him. So we had to fall down in this bullshit to kill him. You see. So to kill black people is to stop an extraterrestrial invasion. You see, that is already here. That's what the X-Files told you. It's been here since before the dinosaurs. You see. Okay, that's what it said. Now, there was never a such thing as space or outer space. That is a hologram produced to be real only by the human brain. Your human brain only perceives this world and out there as being real. The human brain is the enemy. This brain is the matrix. The matrix is the brain. That's what the movie is talking about. That's the true matrix. That's why Morpheus in the Greek mythology is the god of sleep. He's the god of sleep. So when you sleep, you literally go to the other world. And sleep has a lot to do with melody. You get it? And the pineal gland. That's why the god of sleep had the mainframe of Zion, which is the three gates, the pearly gates of the pineal in his head. You see? So I told you that in the Necronomicon mystery, they talk about these elder gods, which is they're elders because they're old now, because we are being regenerated. But when they came and found the great old ones, which was older than them, staggering sleep for a little while to regenerate, they put, this is other mythology explaining another form of the fall. They put the elder sign on them, and when the great old ones woke up, they couldn't get out of their tombs. They were in a perpetual sleep. That is nothing but fashioning this brain to cover over the spiritual brain. So in the book Quantum Psychology by Robert Anton Wilson, that's psychology based on chaos melody. I think it just re-released it. Very complex book, but still, yes, you can, study all other shit. You program a goddamn computer. You can study that shit. It's called Quantum Psychology by Robert Anton Wilson. In that book, he says some people have one brain, some people have two brains. The second brain is the pineal gland. The one brain is the calcified pineal gland. Now remember now, you see what I'm saying? So, what's that? Go ahead.
African origins of what?
Biological psychiatry, which is the original definitive text on melody. So, some of these white people died. You see what I'm saying? And all right, you see, Richard King's book. You see, that's why some of them can tap in. You see, some of them can tap in and all, and that's why. You see what I'm saying? But now, the brain, so Robert Anton Wilson, book Quantum Psychology, said some of us have two brains. We're just talking about the pineal brain, and the other one is talking about the regular brain, the holographic brain. The brain has a hologram. You'll find all of that stuff in Michael Talbot's book, The Holographic Universe. If there is no outer space, then space is to be, then space is to be the inner space. And the inner space, then, is the extraterrestrial realm. That is to be the subconscious mind. The inner world called the dark side. That's the inner world. So to try to stop the dark side, as Star Wars suggests, is to try to stop an alien invasion by stopping you from going on the inside. Look at the pain. So as a result, in order to stop you from going on the inside or stop you from going to the inner space, man had to create these religions. Look at the pain and misery that the ignorance has caused and has been visited upon the planet which now, you know, each one of these religions has an esoteric counterpart. Sufism, Kabbalah for Judaism, and Gnosticism for Christianity. But they killed off the Gnostics and took their stuff and refashioned it. So I'm giving you the Gnostic in the second book. But even the first book with the Titans is a form of the same Gnostic myth and stuff like that also too. You know. So read the Prometheus story up in there, it's the same as Jesus died to save our soul. Prometheus died to save your soul. But Prometheus becomes the original light bringer Lucifer. That's in the second part of the book. In the inner space of Orion Nebula, and this is the key. In the inner space of the Orion Nebula, the first time, the inner space, the Orion Nebula is, no, excuse me, in outer space, you have the Orion Nebula clusters. You see all these pictures, and they say that all these stars are being born in this Orion Nebula. Well, since that space does not exist, it has to be coming from someplace else. Deepak Chopra told you were not local. So that means it has to be coming from the inner space. So when they were talking about these amino acids popping up, that's those stars being born in the Orion Nebula and other star clusters. Within those Orion Nebula. Now, in here, that's the seals of Goatia, which is the extraterrestrial complex. And each seal has a legion or army of 10,000. So there's millions of these particular star clusters being born inside your body. But when you break it down to the human brain and they study it from the eye and from the outside in DNA, they see these amino acids. In each one of those amino acids is small, tiny worlds, and that's the extraterrestrial invasion going on inside of your ass. Not outside. You getting this?
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So, the inner space of the Orion Nebula is the DNA. There is hundreds of amino acids forming daily. This is the same stars and new worlds shown in our space. As above, so below.
Yes.
As within, so without. But the inner is the real. That's the reflection, the hologram. These are depicted in the Goatia as the seals. That's the amino acids. You see, these different seals and symbols and stuff. Well, I got another one that's got seals. You can get the book for $16. I don't want you to buy the book and do the magic because the magic don't work. I want you to buy the book and to read the book to get a sense of what's going on the inside of you. You get it? You see. So, these are the seals forming daily. The same stars and new worlds that's in the Goatia of 10,000 legions are even in the movie Spawn. When he was supposed to get all of those out with those thousands of other spawns, but he didn't get his army to go down to climb up to the gates of hell or heaven and tear them down, which means the gates of heaven is this matrix, which is a prism or a hologram. You see what I'm saying? Now, let's go on. Let's see. Okay, hold on. Bear with me one minute. Let's see when I do all this here. So. Now, hold on. Now, hold on 1 minute. Okay. When you see the planets from outer space, they look lifeless, barren. That is because the holographic pattern that is set in your brain does not perceive anything. But the real frequency of the inner planes are the planets teeming with life forms, as I should say, light forms, or our light forms, which is the seal shown in the Goatia. So in so many words, when you look outside, the planets, there ain't nothing on those planets, because you're looking from the holographic brain. But if you look inward, there's all kind of light on those planets. But the key is, the light on that planet is nothing but entities that's on the inside of you that's literally lying dormant until you come out, because you are the last and final frontier. Because in actuality, you are the central command, because the original heaven got transferred down to earth. So this is the realm of the Great Mother. So since we are agents of the Great Mother in direct part of her, nothing will jump off and to jump off with the niggas down here. What's that?
So that means ice block,
Yeah. It's going again. The ice is a metaphysical thing. Once this thing rises up to the higher polarity or point, it's called the Crown Chakra, and the Crown Chakra is white. That's represented as ice. You see what I'm saying? That's represented as ice. It's also called catalytic cold fusion. Cold fusion means it's an energy that's not done by physical solar heat, but made by heat, a metaphysical heat in your body. They have been dealing with cold fusion. You see what I'm saying? But they can't quite get it in all if you go get the movie in the sink. When he was trying to make that cold fusion, that woman that came up with that cold fusion, she was coming up with the mission of melon. You see what I'm saying? That's the cold fusion. Heat is not made from solar heat, but made from the great mother, which is inside of us. You see what I'm saying? Which they came up with the theories in Georgia Tech in 1989. Oh, it ain't gonna happen physically about the 5-9 thing. No, the planets already lined up. The planets lined up on November and January of 1997. The planets lined up. On November and January of 1997, the planets lined up. That's already happened. So the whole thing about the ice age and all that kind of thing is physical, that ain't happening. Ain't nothing jumping off now, that's jumping off in the inner worlds, and we control the inner worlds. He who controls the spice, melanin, controls the universe. That's Doom. Get the movie Doom. They got a worm up in there. The worm represents the same dragon, worm, Leviathan, or the snake, or what they call wormwood. The wormwood and the wormhole is inside of you. That's the kundalini, and that's the deepest part of the subconscious, which is the wormhole. You see? So to make sure that the wormhole don't jump off, they got the movie to show Deep Space Nine. They got the black man guarding the wormhole, trying to keep the energies from coming back. They had to get a nigga to do it. That's a ritual going on since 1993. You see what I'm saying? Since 1993, they talk about that particular part. Now, let's go on to some other stuff. Let's see. Let's see what else we got here. Extra-dimensional, so and so. Okay, yeah, let's go on. The original gods had hundreds. Hold on 1 minute. Look at this thing. The fourth dimensional manipulators, the demiurge, that's what these particular ones, these subordinate deities are called, created religions to control the human mind, and they sought to control this dimension. What better way to control the people and to close down their minds and divide and to rule them than to create a series of dogmatic religions based on the effects, on special effects. The original gods had hundreds of DNA, as seen in the movie Fifth Element, that was reduced to 2 DNA strands during the fall of the flood that I told you. And the flood is the physical body, the physical realm, flooding out the spiritual realm. I think I mentioned to you the last time that when we first were on the planet as spiritual beings, the physical realm looked dim, like a little bit of specks. But as we fell deeper and came closer to it, the physical realm became clear and the spiritual realm became dim and later on disappeared. And that's the physical vibratory rate flooding and condensing us, and that's the real flood. Noah built the ark, which represents the soul. It has different animals. Each animal represents a different aspect of alchemical component of the soul. 12 zodiacs, the different animals, the different beasts, and all that type of stuff. Put it on the ark and save the ark from the flood, because the ark remains in us today, lying dormant, and that's the soul. It's a metaphysical thing that's actually going on. He even covered the ark with some stuff called pitch, which is pitch black melanin. They talk about that also in the book Black Sun, Peter Moon's book, Black Sun. Cover the arks with pitch black, which is melanin. You see what I'm saying? So the original gods had hundreds of DNA strands. You see that in the movie Fifth Element. Also, you'll see in the movie Fifth Element when they was fighting, they had this big ball, this big black ball. That represents the same black hole that I showed you the last couple of times. I showed you the last time I was here. The same black hole is out there in space. That represents the same black hole that was out there in space. Let's see if I got that here. Yeah, wait for 1 minute. That was in, it was on the table. Okay, it might be down here then. Hold on 1 minute. See if I got it. Hold on. It's on the table. I don't think nobody help yourself with it. It's under here. 1, 2, 3. No, I saw that down there. It's not down there. That thing is around here, so don't make that stuff. Where is it now? Over here? Well, I don't know this time. I had the book. It was on the table. I brought it out, right? Now, I hope somebody took the damn thing. Oh, I don't know. I got to put it in for. Yeah, it is. But anyway, let me go on. I'll get later. Anyway, you saw that big black thing out there, and they shot it, and it became more powerful. They say every 500 years, evil will come. That evil is also the phoenix cycle, and the phoenix rises up from the ashes in a 500-year cycle, which is the star Sirius. They say evil because they were doing the actual ritual. Remember, the movie started off in 1914, and they tried to doggone give them an extension on time. I heard that from Elijah Muhammad. That the white man time was up in 1914, when in this movie Fifth Element come out, and it's this 1914 thing. It's this 1914 thing. But anyway, let's go on. So you'll see that particular part of the different DNA strands. It was reduced down to two DNA strands during the flood of the physical flooding the spiritual. The extra DNA is known as junk DNA. That's within us. That's within the melanin. The DNA is now returning as the amino acids in the DNA clusters that they see in these hospitals and in labs are star clusters, and the 12 main chakras of DNA are the ladder of the lights. Now what's happening is this. You have the Kabbalah, and the Kabbalah will show you 10 different sepals. If you see any pictures of the Kabbalah, the middle sepal is dark, which is called the pseudo-sepal or the quasi-sepal, which means it's not really a sepal at all, it's a gateway. And dark coincides with death. Now, so these particular sepals are the tree of life. But when you enter the sphere of dark or death, you cross into the abyss and enter into what is called the Kalipah. And the Kalipah is the dark side of the tree. It is the inner realm of the dark side, or it is the dark side, and it is where you will find millions of legions of these star clusters of DNA known as demons, aliens, or hidden substances. And there are these little balls of light, and that's what the spaceships are. So if you really want to go see, you go get a movie called, go get this movie called Holographic Universe. Holographic Universe. And it is a movie, it's a movie about this guy, this white guy. It was sometime in the early 1900s. This white guy, he wanted to kill himself. He went into war, taking pictures out there, they're blowing up everything. He wanted to die. So he got back home. And when he got back home, he got this letter to go to the Theosophical Society. So he was in there trying to prove that a lot of spiritual things was fake. I think he was mad because I think he was mad because his wife died. So he kind of included a lot of spiritual things in his faith. So as a result, he went to the Theosophical Society, and they were showing this little girl with a fairy. So he proved that the fairy was fake, got up and told him all this stuff because he was a photographer. So the next day, this woman showed up in his office, and she had a real picture of a fairy and her little girl. And he looked at her and was trying to say it was fake. But when he developed the film that night, he saw the reflection of the fairy in the girl's eyes. So he headed down to the countryside where his little girl and where the mother was. And when he got there, the mother went up to the top of the tree and fell off the tree and killed herself. And he ran out and she had this flower in her hand. And it represented some type of hallucinogen. And when she took it, so when that night he was at the bar, he took it and the whole world slowed down. He ran out the bar and ran to the tree, and there was all these little balls of light around the tree, and there was these fairies. But they looked like spaceships. And that's what this whole Goatia thing is talking about. And it looked like spaceships. So as a result, he got all his camera down there and all that, and little girls wouldn't tell him what these flowers were. So he went into one of the rooms and found some flowers. And that last time he took it, a fairy came out of his mouth, a whole fairy. So that also represents his spirit. And so in so many words, once he found out that this world was bullshit and there was another world, he was ready to kill himself. So some things happened with her husband. The husband died, and they was going to blame him, but he could have got out of it. But they were saying, why you don't want to get out? And he was like, life is just a stage. I'm ready to go to the next world. And he literally, when they hung him, he went right back to the part where his wife, because his wife had died at the beginning of the movie, they was back on the other round. It's a very good movie. But the movie also explains the extraterrestrial thing and the fairies, and because he had to take the hallucinogenic, this flower, it also represented that the fairy realm in that particular kingdom was in the melon. Was in the actual melon. Now we got one thing before we go to one final thing before we go to a question and answer. A question and answer. And I want to deal with this particular point. Right here. We get this particular science right here. Hold on a minute. Bear with me. Do I have this thing? Got so much junk, man. I turned it all upside down looking for that piece, that particular paper. But I guess I'll come back to it as I go. I always read it. But I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go to a question and answer. Yeah, I'll get ready to go. Let me do the thing on the altar. Number one, this particular altar was given to us when we were on the Native American mounds. And this Native American entity by the name of Thunderdog came, and he told us to put this mound up by him. Now this mound was a literal, this entity was literally a literal spirit that used to live on the particular mounds up in Jackson, Tennessee, where we went. Anyway, this particular mound, this particular spirit named Thunderdog, he said this mound, when you put this particular altar in your house, it should represent the union between the Native American spirits that were killed and the black spirits. You see what I'm saying? Since we both have an ancestral connection. So it said in actuality, what you should do is you should get some yellow cloth. You see, maybe some cotton or something. Of natural fabric, and you should take it and drape it over something wood. So me, I got a wooden speaker in my house that wasn't working, woofers would blow out, so that made a good, mound or something like that. So you drape it over something wood represents a tree or something natural. You're going to get a blue 7-day candle and a yellow 7-day candle. You're going to get a bowl, a plate. And in that plate, you're going to put something African and something Native American. So for the African thing, you know, the Native American, I put some corn, I put a feather, and I found some other things and put up some sunflower seeds or whatever I could find Native American. On the other side, I put some African stuff, some cowrie shells, whatever kind of thing you can find African. You put it in the other side of the plate. You put that on the altar with the 2 candles. With 2 candles, this is cool. You put that on the altar with 2 candles. A blue 7 days and a yellow 7 days. Also, you can go and take something African, a book African. I put some type of Euro book on there, or you put the Book of the Dead. And then I went and got something Native American. I went and bought a book called The Holy Survival Kit, which is an excellent book. But I'm saying, it doesn't have to even be a book. It just can be something Native American. So you put all that on the altar. Something Native American, something African. Whatever you do is personal. Whenever you do personal things, the altar becomes more yours. So each altar should be different. Because when you think of personal things to put on the altar, that makes it personal. Whatever thing else you want to put on the altar, you can put on the altar. The more personal you get, the more the energy becomes connected with your own energy. Then, after you do that, you write out a letter to Thunderdog, basically for protection or whatever thing you want. If the God's name is Thunderdog, and protection, prosperity, or whatever personal thing you want, you write that out. If you want to send somebody some energy, you put their picture on the altar. Some healing thing. And you put that altar in your house, and you light those 7-day candles. And do those 7-day candles for about 2 weeks. You know, the first week they burn down, have another one to replace it. And then the second week, and then after about the second week, you don't have to light the candles. You can just put the candles up there. And then on occasion, you can light the candles. And basically, the energy to that particular thing should actually work as far as the altar. You see what I'm saying? As far as the altar. For the people that don't have stuff, you know, get with a friend and they'll write it down, or whatever. There's also a money. Now, I gave you the money one last time about 4 pennies, right? Now, there's another one. I didn't give you one to Urzuki, did I? Okay. There's a Sirius one. And that one is, you need 2 pieces of parchment paper. This is coming from Haiti. It's a Vodun ritual. So what they'll do in Haiti, they will, what they'll do in Haiti, or what these particular people, they'll go over to Haiti and do this ritual and charge $100 to get in, because they know the ritual works. And then their feet and all that, then they do like the ritual. So I'm giving it to you for 10. You see, basically. And what you do is you get 2 pieces of parchment paper, a pink 7-day candle. Pink 7-day candle. 2 pieces of parchment paper. And also you get a plate, and you get some honey. Get a white plate. Get you a white sheet and put over the altar. Or over a table. Mainly a table. I don't think you need a white sheet, excuse me. You can do that if you want to. But what you need is, you need a paper bag, make it a white paper bag, and a string. Now, she just dying over this shit here. I don't understand what's so funny about it. I mean, damn, it's your people's shit. I mean, you can fuck around this shit and save your life with this particular stuff. But anyway, you go and you can get a string and a paper bag. And what you do is you write out to that particular god, which is the Vodun form of Oshun, which would be Urzuki. I'll give you a spell it right now. Erzuli. Erzuli. Urzuli. That's a form of Oshun. That's a form of Isis, or Hathor, Hathor. And what you do, you take that particular paper, you put on the top of the two parchment paper identical, or Zuli's name. And then you write out how much money you want, or basically what you need financially. That's up to you. And you write the identical thing to Azuli on both sheets of parchment paper. You just put her at the top of the paper, and you write out what you want financially in your own words or how personal you want it on two sheets of the paper, identical. Then you take one piece of paper, you put it in the white plate, and you pour honey on top. The other sheet of paper, you roll up, you don't have to fold it, just roll it up, and put it in the white piece of paper bag. Twist the bag up and tie a string around it. Then take a thumbtack and go up under the table and put that bag, thumbtack, in the table so the bag hangs down. You know, up under the table. And then you light that pink candle. You light it and the candle burn out. If you don't do it, just keep it burning. Keep it burning a week or so. Keep it burning about 2 weeks, and then after that, you don't have to light the candle anymore. But what I can say, what happens here is, most of these rituals don't give you precisely what you want in the aspect of it. But it's almost like whatever you need to hook your shit up, however it comes. It'll come in certain ways. It might not come the way you want it, but it will be hooked up. You see what I'm saying? But that is the way, that's who the God is. My thing is when you do that, you're supposed to go out and try to get some type of information and learn more about the God that you asked to help you. Now the thunder dog thing, that was an entity that came, so there's not necessarily much on him, but you can go, but he did say that he's the equivalent of Anubis in Egypt. You see what I'm saying? So that was very interesting too. He's the equivalent to Anubis in Egypt or Kemet. So now let's go into a question and answer right now. Get the ball rolling. What time is it? Oh yeah, good. How many hours is it so far?
8.
Yeah, okay, let's go into a question and answer. You buy parchment paper, I don't know, wherever they sell stuff from the Notary Republic or whatever. It's the sheepskin or something like that. What's that?
I got a question about.
Yeah.
As far as this world right here being illuminated.
Yeah.
What's your thought on the hallucinogens like alcohol or marijuana? It's different drugs. You think of legalization, they go to the other side.
See, the thing is, in the ancient world, all the marijuana and the alcohol and things they used to have people started in Kemet, wine and the marijuana and all that type of stuff. They could get a jack, or just like they could get a certain realm, cross over into a certain realm quicker than you can, because basically this is a compulsive society, so you do those things all the time. Just like I said before, they used to take sugar and do the same thing. But now since sugar is a part of your diet, it doesn't really work. You see what I'm saying? It's just like anything else. You start drinking beer, you get high the first couple of times or whatever, but after a couple of months and shit, it just becomes like Kool-Aid. You know what I'm saying? So I think at this particular time, most of the things you're going to tap into is going to be like mental mind practices. And I mentioned the book the last time, The Magician. The effects of creative magic. The effects of creative magic. By Philip Cooper, which also tries to give you a mental workout, as is the How to Build a Psychic Laboratory. So what this book is talking about is the subconscious mind will only work for you only when you convince it that what you are into is real. The only reason why this stuff don't work for you, psychically, I mentioned it now, is because you've been convinced since you were a child that wasn't real. Or since you was a damn teenager. Because when you were a child, you get into all the stuff that's not real, but then all of a sudden you get to a teenager, that's not cool anymore. And you were being a little child and you start dealing with fantasy things. But if you notice some white people continue into that shit, you go to the comic book store, there'll be all kind of white people up in there, 40 and 50. So this book tells you that the subconscious mind can create what you want if you can convince it that it's real. So psychologically, these are the new exercises you need to be doing. And one way to convince things that it is real is to eliminate the importance on everything that you are dealing with in the physical world. So that means you can go through the physical function. Because you need a job, you need some money or whatever. But you use that as a utility. Just like you wash your hands. You're not really into washing your hands. You just do it because you know you have to do it. But it's the same thing where you treat everything in the physical world. More of a utility than really just being a part of you, or you being into that. You see what I'm saying also? What's that supposed to be?
I was just wondering, like earlier when you gave us the thing about putting the paper on the ground and the ground about can you use that in conjunction with the
Yeah, you could, but I mean that you can say that anywhere. You know what I'm saying? I mean you can say that around here about anywhere.
Also, I wanted to maybe talk a little bit about the character on Stargate Tip.
On what? Which one? The black guy? The black guy? Well, in actuality, you notice he's working for the government now. That's right. Well, that's just nothing. He's just a battery. They take an ancient figure and all, and they get him to work for us to somehow keep out evil. You see what I'm saying? And they even had the guy that had on there one time, evil. You see what I'm saying? So that's just a plot that they do in all that you gotta put somebody black up there and all. Yeah, and all of that. You know, so they get him all hooked up and stuff, you know. That's a part of it, you know. So give me some questions. What's that, brother?
With mythology. How should we view the mythology? Should they be taken literally as literal entities in the stories of mythology? Or
What you have to do is, in so many words, the stories of mythologies, in so many words, when you really study them, they're just nothing but different renditions of the same stories that was going on Earth. How you break it down to the least common denominator, there's a good book called Mythology. There's two of them by David Adam Levy. You get those two books, you'll get basically the majority of them around the world. There's a book called Parallel Mythology, but it's not as good. There's two books by David Adam Levy. One is called The Mythology, The Voyage of the Hero. The other one is called The Quest for Mythology, or something like that. The Quest. It's called the Mystical Quest or whatever. It's two books. You get those books, you basically get most of the mythology from around the world. How you study the mythology is, you study a great deal of the stories, and the ones that seem to give you the same story over and over, it might be different cultures, different characters, but the theme is over and over, it's almost identical, you will know that that's closer to the truth. So if you get a general synopsis in 3 or 4 different myths, and the myths are real short to read, and they coincide, although the mythology, although the culture, the language, and the characters are different, but they have the same thing going on, that means you get closer to the truth. And that's how you can break it down. It's really real science on these particular things.
so with the dollar breaking away from the mother supreme power, could that be taken as a literal entity that revolts against?
In so many words, yes. Because also it can be taken as a certain energy. You see what I'm saying? A certain energy. But literally, it can be taken as a literal entity, but it also can be taken as an energy as far as the dogma also created this world. So a dogma could literally mean the physical body and the physical world. And the true sun to represent the spiritual side of that. So it's two ways to look at it. There's always multi-dimensional ways of looking at this thing. You see what I'm saying also too?
That's the key issue. You can't get caught in lateral thinking.
Yeah.
To be able to think dimensionally.
Yeah, and you literally have to work it out in your mind when you try to get the scope of the thing. But if you get the two David Adams, now he got one called Dictionary. You want the two on mythology. David Adam Leading book. Those are two books that got all of the shit in.
How you spell this?
Leeming. David Adam Leading book. There's one called Mythology, the Voyage of the Hero, and the other one is called The World of Myth. One is called The World of Myth, and the other one is called Mythology, the Voyage of the Hero. If you get those two books, you get it all. You get the Greek thing, you get the Tiamat thing, you get the Egyptian thing, you get all around the world, even the stuff from India that I was telling you about. But those are the two best ones. Then you can go and get several other books, but I do believe those are the two ones that you can get. There's another called Parallel Mythology, which gives you some good ones too, because it does give you some apocalyptic myths and stuff. But when you study that now, remember now, there's a movie called The Garden. Came out, one of the Hammer movies, the Dracula. It came out in the 60s. And you got Peter Cushing in there and Christopher Lee. But it was interesting. The Garden was supposed to be an entity that is supposed to be an entity like the Medusa. There's three Garden sisters. The third one is the Medusa. She turns into stone. Well, there's three pineal glands. The third pineal gland the third one is the pineal gland. There's three other glands. The third is the pineal gland. That's called the philosopher's stone. So the Garden, but when they were trying to defeat the deity, they had to go and call in Peter Cushing or Christopher Lee, and it was master in mythology. So these, and this is a whole science we don't even deal with, rethinking these stories. So you see that, and so that whole Star Wars thing is based off of that. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, but if you tap into that, you can find the heroic story. You can find out. You can literally read the world on how they doing shit. They can read it through the TV, and you can see what side things are jumping off if you study that mythology. That mythology is advanced science. African science comes from the word mutu, which means historical sayings that was carried by word of mouth in verse 40 was written down. So they're supposed to be actual events. It's just that different ones might have different ages, might have a twist on it, but if you get the general scheme, that's some shit that really went down. Also, to give some questions.
I'm going to say, now are those mythologies, were they handed down? I know they came by word of mouth, but were they handed down from spiritual beings, so to speak?
Basically, so what they did is the first one, they literally tapped into their own subconscious mind, and the spiritual entities literally channel that stuff down. So a seer could literally just go inside and do just like Nostradamus does. So the original one was channeled material handed down through higher consciousness or whatever type thing, you see what I'm saying? By you tapping in. What's that, sister?